We're going to go back to the decision by Toronto Police to not participate in this year's Pride Parade. Joining us now with more on this is community activist Desmond. Your reaction to this decision, first off?
I don't really think that it's a decision. I think the decision was taken several weeks ago by the Pride Board when they voted to say we don't want the police anymore. I find it interesting that today the police are like, you know what, we will abide by the community's decision, as if they would have had a choice to not listen to the community. That's what I find interesting here, is that this whole conversation has really just been about the police listening to a community.
Right.
I'm glad they're listening.
It's not up to the police, but I think what the chief was saying is we're going to let it go. We're not going to debate. We're not going to make a case for ourselves. There were, as you know, there were some police officers in tears that were really disappointed that they would not be able to participate in this parade in this way. And I think that's what the chief was basically saying. We're going to step back and we will respect the decision.
Can I speak to that? Because you guys showed a video, and all of us, I think, saw a video a couple of weeks that had me in tears. And that was a video at Church and Dundas Street of a black man who had his hands cuffed behind his back and who was not moving, being stomped and kicked and tasered twice by the police. That incident happened 2 weeks ago, basically in the exact area where the Pride route and the march happens every year. So what is it that we are struggling against here when we talk about police brutality? The police not being able to march in a parade when that's the way that they are treating people in that community, I think is a much bigger deal. Like, they have to be held accountable. Things are not going to change with the relationship between police and many communities, black community, queer communities, until they actually start to stop this kind of behavior that is making people so angry.
No one is saying the police are perfect, and they might never be. There will always be, as they themselves say, some bad apples. Mayor is saying it's about healing the relationship between themselves and the gay community. That's why they were a part of the parade. Are you concerned that the relationship might be strained even more so now?
No. I think that the police need to be accountable for their actions. So the mayor is saying somehow that if the police march in the parade enough times, then that's going to cure the problems, the serious entrenched problems. Okay, but then it's a ridiculous thing to say. You know why? Let me give you another example. In November, we heard about something called Project Marie, an incident which was an undercover police investigation in a park in Etobicoke, Marie Curtis Park, where dozens of men who were meeting in this park to hook up with one another were arrested and charged by the Toronto police. That sounds eerily like the bathhouse raids that started Pride in the first place, but they happened 3 months ago. So what we know is that even now, police continue to target queer communities, harass, arrest, and charge them. Stopping that is how you heal the relationship, not marching in a parade.
So then are you saying it doesn't necessarily matter if you march in a parade or not? And if that's the case, who cares if they're banned or not from marching?
I don't think it does matter if the police march. I only think that it matters to them as a PR move. I think it matters to them so that they can say, but look at all the progress that we've made. And when they don't have that, it's a lot harder for them to demonstrate what they're actually doing to heal a lot of the wounds that have happened. People are angry about police brutality, Nathan. They're angry because the police, we know, have a tremendous amount of power, and they abuse that power sometimes. And when we see that happening, we don't see accountability. So the man who got brutalized in front of all of our eyes at Dundas and Church, there isn't even an SIU investigation into that. There won't be any police officer charged for harming a guy who had his hands cuffed behind his back and was defenseless. If the police started doing something about that and stopped marching in parades, I think that they would find that there's a lot more reception. If our politicians like John Tory, who said next to nothing when that man was beaten at Church in Dundas, if they said something and stood up to the police and said, we will not tolerate this, he could help to mend those relationships. He's stuck on the symbolic here because he also does not want to challenge police authority.
So instead of, let's say, banning them, why not Black Lives Matter or other groups march with police as a way to try to open up this dialogue that's so important?
I think that if you and I were classmates at a school and you're the bully beating me up every day, the solution is not for us to hold hands and walk through the school together. The solution, first of all, is to stop you from bullying me.
Right.
And what the Pride communities are saying is that you haven't stopped the bullying part yet. You want the togetherness and you want the friendliness and the public relations part of it, but you haven't actually stopped the behavior that's harming this relationship. It's not, like I said, it's not a lack of BLM or queer communities and police hanging out and socializing together.
Can you simply leave it in police hands to get everything done?
No, properly? I would never leave this in police hands, no.
If you work with them, wouldn't that to give you a better chance of success?
No, we work with our elected officials. Our elected officials hold the police accountable. We have this problem in Toronto where we think that the police make all the decisions. We even think that the police make the decision to march in a community's parade. The politicians need to intervene on our behalf and start holding. I don't want to work with the police if the police don't want to work with the community. Somebody is the police's boss, and that's Mayor Tory and the police board. When Mayor Tory and the police board say police who harm people will be fired, police who harm people will be prosecuted and sent to jail, that we will have better investigations of police and they will all be made public. Look, I just said that in 10 seconds on the air. Mayor Tory will not say those things, but he wants togetherness and unity. He's got to do the work that he was elected